Doctor Who Turn Left 11th episode of Series 4 is written by Russell T Davies and starring David Tennant, Catherine Tate and Billie Piper. So yeah, this is the Doctor's light story focusing on Donna because David Tennant was busy filming Midnight while Catherine Tate is filming Turn Left. Russell T Davies compared the concept episode Life Without the Doctor to the Sliding Doors film. This answers the question, did the Doctor cause deaths or save lives? The return of Rose Tyler has been planned since Series 2 was filming. Piper promised to return for several episodes, which is nice. I'm happy that she came back as she's my favourite companion. So the episode begins in the planet Shan Shen. Shame it's a fictional as I'd love to visit that place. Doctor and Donna trying a foaming drink. So a fortune teller invites Donna into a tent, and yeah, that's Chip-O Chung who plays Chantho in Utopia, and I think she's a great actress. So fortune teller said that she saw the most remarkable man, the Doctor. She asks how Donna met him. Donna explained that she got teleported in the TARDIS on her wedding day. How it happened is that she works at H.C. Clements as a temp, and of course Lance got the human particles in the coffee so she can get teleported. But her mum Sylvia suggests little photocopy business run by someone she knows, Jivel Chowdhury. So Fortune asks Donna what if she turned right and worked with Chowdhury, and a time beetle climbed onto Donna's back. The Tricksters Brigade, apparently that design was inspired by the giant spider on Sarah Jane Smith's back from Planet of the Spiders, which is cool. The beetle's normal Earth-like appearance was deliberate. Prosthetic designer Neil Gorton thought that familiarity would ease the narrative and cites the Cat Nuns from New Earth and the Jadoon from Smith & Jones as examples. Funny thing is, the Trickster is a recurring villain in the Sarah Jane Adventures, and during his first episode, Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane, he was planning to wipe the Doctor out of the existence. And well, we get this. So in the alternative universe, Donna's parallel Earth, whatever you'd like to call it, Donna turns right as she agrees to work with Mr. Chowdhury, then she wouldn't have met the Doctor. So during Christmas, Donna has a drink with her mates. The bloke discovers a Christmas star which turns out to be Empress of the Rachnos' web star. After it electrocuted the street and army tank blow it up, Private Grey talks on his radio and the Doctor has sadly died, as he was drowned in the flood killing Rachnos' children. Rose appeared and pretty upset that the Doctor is gone. So later on, Mr. Chowdhury sacks Donna. We see a thunderstorm above the hospital. Then hospital disappeared. Sound familiar? Because of the Doctor's absence, there's been some changes because after the hospital came back, there was only one survivor, Oliver Morgenstern. Mentions the rhinos, Jadoon obviously. Martha Jones gave him her last oxygen and died. And Sarah Jane Smith was there who stopped the MRI and sadly died, along with Luke Smith, Clyde Langer and Maria Jackson. Man, Alan and Chrissy must be devastated, and Clyde's mum. Donna meets Rose again. She asks why is she looking at her back, as throughout this episode everyone keeps looking at Donna's back. Rose also advised Donna to get out of London for Christmas as she's won the raffle. Yeah, there wouldn't be a Saxon event because the Master would still be in 100 trillion, the end of the universe. Next Christmas time, Donna, Sylvia and Wilfred arrived in Fireborn House Hotel. On Christmas Day, as the maid walks in giving them breakfast and Donna in the bathroom planning what to do on Christmas, Sylvia asks Donna to look at the news, and it was the replica of the Titanic falling down to Earth. As it was about to hit Buckingham Palace, the TV went static. So everyone looked and they're horrified as a mushroom cloud rises above London because London is destroyed. Max Capricorn's plan has succeeded. I found it really scary when Donna turns her head around and the maid pointing a finger at her with an angry stare. I love to know what she's thinking. So Donna and her family had to move to Leeds with London destroyed and England flooded with radiation, and living in a house with a guy called Rocco Colasanto and his family. The noble family lives in a kitchen. I find it a bit funny when Sylvia asks what about the bathroom and Rocco was like, nobody lives in the bathroom, when she meant if there's a rota. Imagine living in the bathroom, sleep on the bathtub or next to the toilet. Yeah, why not? Originally America were going to help Britain with monetary relief, but the plan was dropped because 60 million Americans are killed as they became adipose. So later on, Sylvia has a conversation with Donna that everyone they knew has died. and they think they don't exist. But then we get the funny moment where people singing sea shanty with the "I spent all my money on whiskey and beer" and Donna ranting at them, but it reveals Wilfred is holding a beer and said he'd love to sing a song. So we cut to everybody singing Bohemian Rhapsody until the sound of gunshot, so Rocco takes a look as they discovered soldiers shooting at their vehicles because of the atmos. So after Donna went outside, the soldier points his gun at Donna and ordered her to turn around and show her back. But then he said sorry as he thought he saw something, and obviously Wilfred rants at that soldier, saying in his day he would be court-martialed for it. So Donna sees a bright light and meets up with Rose again, and we find out that Torchwood team Ianto Jones and Gwen Cooper has built atmospheric converter and sacrificed themselves to get rid of Atmos. And Captain Jack can't die, so he gets transported to Sontaran's planet, Sonta. Rose won't tell Donna her name, but she warns about the darkness and that she's gonna die. So then 3 weeks later, Rocco and his family gets evicted, and Rocco says goodbye to Donna and Wilfred because the emergency law has changed, as England is now only for English people, so non-British gets taken to a place that they're called labour camp. But it's actually internment camps. Because the ocean is closed off. Man, this is really sad to watch. I can feel my tear going down watching this. So after Donna tells Sylvia that soldiers told Donna that she wasn't qualified, she sits with Wilf in the garden, and we get the scary bit where the stars are going out. So Rose takes Donna to unit base and met Captain Arisa Magambo, played by Noma Dumezweni. I think she's great. She reprised her role in Planet of the Dead. They really should bring her back. So Donna takes a look around in the TARDIS, realising it's bigger on the inside. So she steps into a circle of mirrors, lights turn on, and she sees a time beetle on her back. Catherine Tate's acting is absolutely stellar. So Captain Magambo, helped by Rose, sends Donna to time travel to remove the time beetle off her, and landed 6 months before the events of Rachnos. So she ran as fast as she can while her past self and Sylvia in the car talking about choices of jobs. So Donna gets herself knocked over, causing a traffic jam. Rose whispered something in her ear, so Donna past self refused to wait long in the traffic jam. So she turns left to work in H.C. Clements. As a result, that prevents the Doctor's death and world going into disasters. In the original universe, the time beetle dies and fell off her back, so a fortune teller seemed scared and ran off. Just before the Doctor came in, and he examines the time beetle, and he noticed about Donna's world and how he met Donna and Wilfred twice. Donna tries to tell the Doctor about Rose, but sadly she doesn't know her name, but whispered 2 words which it reveals Bad Wolf. I think this is pretty scary, where every word says Bad Wolf, even the TARDIS. So inside the TARDIS is red with cloister bell ringing. When Donna asks what's going on, then the Doctor said it's the end of the universe. Oh boy. Russell T Davies says that the episode's climax, Rose's warnings, the words of Bad Wolf. The words cause or no errant harm Bad Wolf acts as a warning sign for the Doctor and Rose's innovation of the phrase signals that the parallel universes Rose and the Doctor inhabit are collapsing into each other. Davis also wouldn't say this episode is part of the series finale. It was described by a Doctor Who magazine as partly acting as a prelude to the 2-part series climax. Very interesting. So, that's Turn Left, and I love it. It's a great way to show what happens if the Doctor wasn't around, and the events where aliens came to Earth and messed it up, and we obviously love Catherine Tate as Donna Noble. It does have scary and sad moments. What do you guys think of Turn Left? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'm excited to talk about the series finale, starting with The Stolen Earth.